Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to Run It Back. My name is Michelle, Chandler P, Lou Will, and Boogie. Guys, it's our first remote. Some of us have new fancy equipment right now. How are we feeling about it?
Hey, you got some great lighting over there, Beads.
Thank you. It was in my contract. Don't make me look 90. That's all I ask. Boogie, your first remote with us officially. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Glad to be home.
How about them Raiders? You want to talk about it? You want to talk about it?
Let's move forward. Let's keep it positive today.
Okay. We're gonna. Well,
hey, Boogie,
I wish we could keep it positive.
6:30 wake up call is much better than 5 a.m. Right?
Girl, you don't even know.
I had time
don't
for
even
coffee.
know.
Yeah.
Just roll over
when
into
it
the other
shift my
room.
way when I'm on the East Coast. This go my way when we are remote because I'm in Atlanta.
Good point. Yeah, Lou gets like civilized hours when he goes home.
Okay.
Midday for Lou.
We don't get to start with basketball right away, unfortunately, because it was a little bit of news over the weekend. Was Ja Morant? He's getting got a 1-game suspension from the team for conduct detrimental. He had words for his coaching staff following a loss to the Lakers on Friday. Here he is.
What went wrong to you today?
Go ask the coaching staff.
Do you feel like, there was anything you could do differently, I guess?
You ask them. They had a whole spiel in here, so.
From the outside, and the outside may be wrong, but from the outside, it didn't look like you had your usual energy tonight.
Go ask the coaching staff why.
Okay. You feel like you should play more?
Go ask the coaching staff. Should I play more or not?
What had been done? What could have been done different to get a different outcome other than asking the coaching staff?
According to them, probably don't play me, honestly. That's what basically the message was after, so it's cool.
The coaching staff message was it?
It's cool, huh? We good?
You didn't have anything physically wrong in terms of illness or anything?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Ooh, it's cool. And it doesn't seem like it's cool at all. He only had 8 points and seemed pretty unengaged, basically overall, Boogie. What are your initial reactions to that?
It's time to move on. This ship has sailed. I think the Grizzlies have made their decision on who they're siding with when they decided to suspend Ja Morant. Obviously, they're siding with this coaching staff. This was the coaching staff that was brought in with the militant style of coaching. Doesn't blend well with everybody. Doesn't blend well with modern day basketball. So that's something that's, embraced overseas in the European League. They like the military style because they also lack talent where we don't. So they have to be more fundamental. They have to be well coached to cover up in those other areas. So this style of coaching combined with this modern day of basketball is a recipe for disaster, and it's showing.
Yeah, I'm with Boogie, and I took to Twitter and said adios Memphis, because how do you not think that when you watch this video? And that's frustration. That's clearly him not feeling the system in which they're playing. When he said ask him, I took that directly at the head coach. And again, like Boogie said, you don't fire Taylor Jenkins and roll with this new coach, this new staff, if this isn't the coach that you think for the future, more so than Ja Morant. So you can just tell he's not happy. He's frustrated. They're not a contender. They're probably not going to make the playoffs. So this is just going to keep boiling and boiling. And Ja Morant, listen, he's still an extremely, extremely elite talent. We know his production, what he can do on the court. But when you start seeing things like this, and we know the off-the-court issues last year, things are adding up, frustration's adding up. They move off Desmond Bane, who was his guy. They get off Dylan Brooks, who was a big part of that team. It just seems like there's about to be some heavy turnover. And it's crazy not to thank Ja Morant on the Memphis Grizzlies, because he's been the face of that team for a long time, alongside with Jaren Jackson Jr. But this team's in trouble. They're in a real difficult spot. And clearly their star, their franchise player, is frustrated, is not happy, and seems like he wants to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, you know what? For me, it's this, right? Chandler, you just mentioned it, and it's hard not to mention it when you have these scenarios, right? Like, you've had your off-court issues, and that's a fan base that stood beside you. They fought for you. They defended you. They had your back. They were rolling. You couldn't tell the city of Memphis no wrong with Ja Morant. And then when you look out there on the floor, you see that effort. you kind of gotta pay attention to that, and you gotta read the room. Like, you owe that fan base more than that. Now, do you have issues with your coaching staff, organization? Sure. Anybody that's put on a uniform at some point has had issues with the team that they play for. And we might pout a little bit, we might whine, we might do the things in the media, but you always can control your effort on the floor. On the defensive end, he was unengaged. You can tell he was trying to make a point. On the offensive end, he wasn't attacking. He wasn't going downhill, trying to put any pressure on them. And it looked like he was going through the motions. And then you have a coaching staff that pulls you because you're going through the motions. And then you're upset about them pulling you for going through the motions. So, I understand the part where you're not feeling the coaching staff. I understand the part you might be forcing their hand to try to move on and do something different. I understand all of those things. But when it comes to your effort on the floor, you owe the fan base more than that, man. They supported you 100% with everything that you went through. No matter what any market said about you outside of Memphis, they were rolling. So for those fans to still come out and support you and still defend you the way that they do, I just feel like his on-the-floor effort, the fan base deserve more than that. Now, what's going on behind closed doors? Let the powers that be fight that fight. Let your agent fight that fight. Let your manager fight that fight. Let those people that represent you fight that fight. But when you lace up, you owe the fan base more. And for that part, I was a little disappointed in Ja because of how he was playing on the floor, because of those fans, because of his kids. It was a resurgence in his shoes being sold. Like, his shoe was one of the favorites that's out there. These kids are still supporting you. That means they're still watching. That means they're still impressionable, and you're still making a big impression on these young kids and that fan base. And to go out and play like that because of an internal issue that you having with the team, I just wasn't feeling that part. So, it might has gotten to a point where of no return for Memphis as an organization and for Ja as an individual.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, no matter how good and talented Ja Morant is, all the things that he's had to go through and all the issues he's had, he's still auditioning for the 29 other teams to want to invest in him, to want to make a move to even get him, assuming he's unhappy. And when you start talking about lack of effort, like you're not, and you're messing with the game, as guys say and coaches say, that's not okay. And again, I agree with Lou there. That's an unprofessional approach to take to quit on your teammates and to not give your full effort. And that's what we saw in that game the other night. So as much issues as I've had with coaches and there's a lot of ups and downs throughout the season, it can't alter your effort, because that is just an extremely bad look around the league. It's a bad look for yourself. And listen, I know first and foremost how quickly these Memphis Grizzlies fans can turn on you. And Ja Morant has done a lot of stuff for this franchise. It's going to take a lot, and I think he's their guy regardless. But not playing as hard as you can and quitting, and then optics-wise saying these type of things, basically quitting on your team and to go ask the coach, that's not a leader. That's not a franchise player. You don't say things like that when you're in that position. So at the end of the day, if I'm 29 other teams, I have to look at all this other detrimental conduct that he's now doing every single season. Does that outweigh his talent?
Okay, so I'm glad that's sort of where this path has taken us. Boogie, and I'm going to start with you on this. Given all of that, right? I mean, we're talking about fans standing by him, everything that's sort of gone down with his time in Memphis. And it sounds like we're all kind of on the same page that his days are numbered there in that city. That being said, given all the data, is a contending team going to be willing to take a chance on him? Or is this going to be a situation where he just sort of gets shipped off to another rebuilding town?
I would say absolutely. This is a top talent in this league. He's electric when his game is on. He's one of the top players in the league. But I don't want us to get distracted of this moment, and then that starts to take away from this kid's talent and what he's done so far in this league. And I also look at this situation as, this wasn't a season where we thought this was going to be a contending team. Like, let's be honest, it's not much talent on this team. I think they were going to have a bad year regardless. And he didn't help the situation by giving them the ammo. But this is also where it can become the blame game. Let's focus on, the negative parts that we saw in this game, because the previous game before this, he had 30 points against Phoenix. Now we come into this game and we're talking about lack of effort and all these other things. It was a situation where It was frustration in the game, and it should have been left in that moment. It shouldn't have carried over. So I look at both sides. I look at Ja and I look at the coaching staff. Because like I said, the previous game, it was a 30-point game and everything was all good. And he was the franchise guy and the leader of the team and doing everything right. So one game later, we're now shifting the narrative again, and that's just not how this works. It's now becoming the blame game. This was a shitty season from the beginning. It's not much talent on the roster, and you guys weren't winning this season. So let's not start making this about Ja Morant. Yes, he's had his mistakes. Yes, he's done wrong, but he's been a professional ever since. He's doing things. He's been trying to lead to the best of his ability. And frustration is a part of sports. Let's stop acting like it's not. If you disagree, it's because you're a nerd and you never played the game. That's simple as that. Frustration is a part of sports. If you think we're not human beings, if you think we don't have emotions when we're playing on the field, on the court, or whatever respected sport we're playing, that is a part of the game, and this is the part that pisses me off. Stop dehumanizing these people. Stop acting like people aren't human beings. Stop acting like people don't have feelings, because it's a real thing, and you can't sit here and just turn it off like it's a switch in life. That's not how life works. But to talk about Ja as well, he does have to handle these situations differently. He does have to be more professional. And like Lou and Will said, you owe it to the fan base and you owe it to yourself to go out there and perform at a high level every night. That's on his part. Cool.
That's my beef, Boogie. Like, all things aside, yes, he's human. Yes, we all go through things. Yes, we all frustrated. Control what you can control, though. You can control that effort on the floor.
Absolutely.
You can still go out there and bust the other team ass and be frustrated with your coaching staff. You can still go out there and do that. You can still perform at a high level and still tell your coaching staff, I'm still not pleased. You can still go out there and go get another 30 ball and say, hey, man, go talk to him why X, Y, and Z not working. You can still do those things. And so for that, for me, don't give anybody ammo to dehumanize you. Don't give anybody ammo to keep talking about you. You've already had your issues. So I'm not saying that he should walk on thin ice or eggshells, but he got to read the room. Again, this is a great summer for Ja Morant to come back in re-energized. I'm out there on that AAU circuit. It ain't nothing but Ja Morant shoes on these kids' feet. They love Ja.
And that's because he's the player that he is. That's because he's the player that he is.
But
that's the point. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you good. Get it off your chest.
That's the point I'm trying to make as far as, now we're moving forward and we start to question his talent. We look at the landscape of, the impact that he has on children, these young athletes. It's all there, and that's because of his play. That's because of his charisma, and that's because of his talent. So, and that's the point I'm making. But regardless of what the situation is.
But you know what else, Boogie?
What's that?
You know what else? The numbers are down 3 straight years. Consistently. So when I say read the room,
3 straight years.
Yeah. So when
the talent has been down, that's the point. They've been worse and worse every season.
Every season, and I'm agreeing with you there. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. Read the room. Chandler just said it. Even if you're not happy here, you auditioning for 29 other teams. Go out there and kick somebody's ass anyways, and deal with everything else. Control what you can control. Go out there, bust everybody ass, and let the powers. I know you got a strong team. Let your team fight that fight. And if you're frustrated, you still can fight. You still can say, I ain't happy here, whatever, but you got to go out there and put it on the floor. That's my only beef. All the other stuff, that's for everybody to argue. For me, when you step on the floor, you got an obligation to your fan base, to your fans, to show up and show out. That's all.
And there's certain conversations, right, that happen in that locker room, that happen right after the game, that they're heated, they're emotional.
Absolutely.
And the coach went in and they challenged Ja Morant right after that game, right? Ja has to have the maturity and the stability to not go and make that conversation public. I think that's now where it gets hairy. That's now where it brings in people and shows like us that are now going to nitpick and pick him apart about his behavior based on what he's doing now and what he's done last year and all the issues he's had before. It's never been about the talent with this dude. This dude is high octane, one of the most fun players to watch in the league. There's a reason he got his contracts. There's a reason kids wear his shoes. He is fun to watch. He is explosive. He is the entire heart and soul of this Memphis Grizzlies team, alongside with Jaren Jackson. And they have put some pieces around them, but they haven't given him a contender in all reality. So they fired their coach, which I never saw that coming. Taylor Jenkins is an awesome coach, and they had a good thing rolling there. So there's been a lot of change there. I just think there still has to be that growth and that responsibility of John Morant as the face of the franchise, as one of the faces of Nike. You can't say things like this. You can't publicly go at your coach and ask the media to ask him and boil over to that point, especially when your team's losing, especially when everyone's frustrating. He basically just added to the fuel to the fire there, and he can't do that as a franchise player. Again, I think his time's running out there. I think he wants to be in a system where there's more structure, where there's more chance to win and compete and do it at the playoffs and kind of see him do what he does now on the biggest stage. That's going to help all these problems go away. But you just can't handle this situation like he did when you have that responsibility as the franchise piece.
Yeah, when they fired Taylor Jenkins and there were rumors like, oh, maybe Ja didn't like him, maybe this, that, and the other. I also don't think that this is the guy Ja would have picked either. So it felt like from the beginning, this was a weird experiment that was doomed to fail. And you guys have talked about the talent. That's obviously there. And Lou mentioned the fact that the numbers have gone down consistently over the last 3 seasons. So that being said, we love a good list. ESPN has him ranked at 33rd. I ask you, Boogie, I'll start with you. What is he in this league? A top what player?
He's a top 20 talent in this league, and that's saying a lot because it's a lot of talent in the league right now. Top talent, top 20 without a doubt on his worst day. I don't care about the headlines. I don't care about the situation. This kid is one of the top talents in this league, regardless.
Yeah, I think he's
Anyone?
in that top 25, top 30 range. There's no denying his talent. Like we've talked about that all episode long here. The kid is a hooper. He is explosive. He is so athletic. His numbers have been decreasing and his issues have been increasing. So that's the only issue really with John Morant. It's never going to be about that. If he's playing 30, 35 minutes a game, he's putting up 25, 8, and 6. Like he is that type of player. Now there's a lot of other really good players in this league and a lot of other players that have taken that step. But I think 33-ish is a little high, but I would maybe go somewhere between that 25, 30 range because he's still an elite player. He's still an all-star level talent. He just got to be available and he's got to be able to play and their team's got to win games. And neither of those are happening right now.
That is fair.
I'm with you both. Still a top 20. Yeah, he's still a top 20 talent. And listen, all things considered, we'll be a top 20 talent. I just want him to go out there and shut everybody up with his play. And let's stop talking about everything else besides that around Ja Morant. I just want him to kind of get out of this fog of people wanting to nitpick and have issues with him. I want him to get back to being from top 20 to a top 10. We got to lock back in on the hoop. That's where I'm at with it with Ja.
And it just feels like 20. It feels like with him too, every issue is self-inflicted. Like you don't have to go and do what you did last. You don't have to go and say this to the media. And I know it's frustrated, but you have to have that maturity to not put yourself in the situation given the history of everything that he's been through. So again, I hope he figures it out because I want to see him on the floor and I want to see him in the playoffs on a great team. I just don't think it's going to be.
I want to see him be successful. We all want to see him be successful. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun to be able to talk with strangers about Ja Morant and not them only think about the troubled stuff and not the fact that he's a great basketball player. Let's just assume he's getting traded. And I don't know if it's happening by Christmas. I don't know if it's happening at the trade deadline. But Chandler, in your mind, perfect case scenario, what team would be a great fit for him?
Like 2 teams that are contenders that both have starting point guards that are hurt. That's the Houston Rockets with Fred out, and that's the Dallas Mavericks with Kyrie out. I think they both have assets that could get them. They both have the money. They both have the structure where they could do some swaps. I like either of those teams. I think Udoka, a guy like him, would be great for John Morant. I really like Houston, and again, they have the Tari Easons. They have the player or the assets that I think Memphis could be attracted to with possibly a rebuild situation when you lose a guy like John Morant. And Dallas, again, I think they have the PJ Washingtons and they have Klay Thompson that kind of matches salary-wise, where John Morant could do a flip there and help this team right away and get into playoffs and make a deep run with one of those 2 teams.
Those kind of make sense to me. Anybody have anything additional, like another team?
No, I got written down right here. I got Houston, I got the Mavs, and I also have ATL written down with an asterisk next to it. That would probably be something more of the trade deadline based on how things work out with Trae Young and how they continue to move forward. So I had Atlanta as a sleeper pick just on something that I was thinking. But other than that, Houston and Mavs make a lot of sense to me as well.
For me, it's Houston. Obviously, they're in need of a point guard, but with the team that I would love to see him with, and I think those two guys would mesh well, is Minnesota. Minnesota is also in need of a point guard, and I think him next to Ant Edwards, I think that would be exciting for basketball. It'll be must-watch TV, and it's two guys that relate. They're cut from the same cloth. They understand each other. They can mesh on the floor, and I think they could, find a common goal in winning a championship together. So. I would love to see him in Minnesota.
The must-see TV of that is probably the truest thing that you said right there, which is crazy. Trae Young,
most
look,
athletic backcourt
can you
of all
imagine?
time.
That's
Yes.
like the splashiest duo that you could possibly put on television at the same time. We're going to move on to Trae Young, Lou. So glad you brought him up. The news over the weekend, unfortunately, was that knee injury is a sprained MCL, which means he's out at least the next 4 weeks or so before he gets even reevaluated. For the Hawks, Lou, this is horrible news. Playoff aspirations. Like, how do you digest this info?
Yeah, hate to see that he's going to be down a month, but happy to see that he's only down a month at the same time because, as these knee injuries go, a lot of the times it's bad news. It's going to be a season-ending thing. So I'm glad that it's only, a 4-week thing, that he'll be reevaluated and see where he goes from there. So he dodged a bullet. So I hope he gets well soon. This is something that he can bounce back from. And as a team, you get an opportunity to see what you're made of. Jalen Johnson is back in the lineup. You got other young guys that could use some extended minutes, can use some extended experience as well. So this is going to be a great telltale time for, the Atlanta Hawks to figure out where they're going in the near future here while Trae Young is out for 4 weeks. This gives you an opportunity to evaluate what you have in-house and what you need to work on outside of him.
I couldn't agree more with Lou as far as, the injury part, where obviously we're happy that it is a shorter injury than what it could have been. It could have been a lot worse. So that's great news on his behalf. But at the same time, I stand on what I said earlier. I'm ready for Trae to get out of there as well. I don't really see them making the proper moves to really elevate this team, elevate his talent, put him in a position to be successful and really push this team. So with that being said, I still want him out. I think this is the perfect timing while he's injured. Find some trade suitors, find a good, spot. Obviously, you get to evaluate the rest of the talent on the team. We get to really see what the talent is around him and how well they can do. But as far as moving forward, I still stand on it. It's time for him to get out of there as well.
What I'm interested in seeing, Boog, is Trae Young's obviously a very polarizing player. You either love him or hate him, I feel like. Let's see how easy it is to win games without Trae Young in Atlanta. Like you can say all you want about him not whatever, why you dislike him, his production. Trae Young is an all-world talent. He makes this team better, and I think there's going to be a huge hole the next 4 weeks without him there. And yes, they got guys like Jalen Johnson, who's kind of a budding star in my mind. They got added Porzingis, Alexander Walker. They added some pieces there that can kind of carry the load, but I think this team is going to really struggle without Trae Young, and I think it's going to be very eye-opening for fans, that coaching staff, that front office, to see how much impact and how much weight Trae Young's game actually carries and impacts winning, because he gets a lot of criticism. He gets dragged through the mud a lot, and I don't think it's necessarily fair. So I hate to see him out for a month because I had high hopes for this team. I had him kind of a fringe home court advantage team here in the Eastern Conference this year. And I think they're going to really go south here with Trae Young out because I think he's that good. I think his impact is that big. And so I think they're going to really, really struggle here without him. I just hope he gets back soon and healthy, and I'm glad it wasn't anything serious. But this will really show Atlanta and put things in perspective how life is without Trae Young, because it's not going to be so peachy.
Absolutely.
Damn, Chandler, you're like that guy that breaks up and says, "We'll see how you like life when I'm gone." You're like,
Yeah.
"Larry, I see what you're doing."
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll regret
show
this.
you.
Definitely, Chad.
All right, let's talk some basketball, shall we? The Thunder continue to roll. It seems like no big deal. 7-0. That's where they're sitting. They did play the Pelicans, who have yet to win a game over the weekend. 137-106 was your final. By the way, no Chet Holmgren in that one as well. SGA finishes with 30 and 7 assists. 8 players had at least 10 points in this bad boy. And you still don't have Jalen Williams in the lineup, which is crazy to me. Lou, it's a little scary. I know it's the beginning of the season, but they just seem to be seamlessly easing into this season as if nothing's happened, and it looks terrifying to the rest of the league. Am I wrong?
they got a good thing and they've bottled it up. They got winning pedigree. You got guys that are bought in to your coaching staff, to your organization, to each other. They still do their interviews together. You got a team that's completely bought into a winning tradition and trying to add. They just come off a championship run and they look like they're hungry to try to repeat. You know, that's the great thing about having young talent on a team at the same time and get them to buy in. When you get everybody to buy in, the sky is the limit for the things that you can accomplish. So it's no surprise to me that they're right back in the mix like they are with this team still being undefeated. And even on like games where these are setup games, when you play a Pelicans team that's struggling, they don't play with their breakfast at all. They go out there and I'm just going to whoop your head by 30. We're not even going to flirt with this being a good game. I'm going to go out there and put 137 on the board. And we're not even going to have this conversation. You love a team like that with a killer instinct that's doing it. They don't have anything going on outside of basketball. These guys keep their head down. They're a hard-working, hard-nosed basketball team. And they've created the blueprint for a lot of young teams and a lot of small market teams that can follow in the near future.
I couldn't agree more. And I think the point that we keep ignoring when it comes to this group, none of these guys are in their prime yet. So to imagine how long this can continue to go on. This is a young championship group. They're starting this season like they didn't even win a championship last season. Most teams that come off a championship, they start off a little sluggish. They
still partying a little bit.
Yeah, they still running the champagne and Hennessy off. So just to see this group come out firing on all cylinders, like they're in mid-season form is credit to this group. I mean, they're well knitted, they're together, they all want to win, they're all on the same page. Like Lou said, they don't have anything going on outside of basketball. And that's also credit to a small market team. And it's also an example of how small market teams should be ran. Fully invested in a team. Obviously, it's no distraction. So if you can do it through the draft, do it through youth, and find a way to have all this youth come together and play ball on the same accord, these are the results of it. So I think this is a great example for all small market teams.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other small market teams that are struggling and not winning as many games. So I think you just look at the makeup and the character of these guys they go and find. Like Boogie, Brandon Carlson, who is he throw him in the game last night, 19 minutes, he gives you 11 and 5. Isaiah Joe's back, he just gives you 13 and 5. You know how bad teams they would struggle without 3 starters in the lineup that night? Not the Oklahoma City Thunder. Williams out, Dort out, and Holmgren out, and they still just smack this team because it's next man up mentality. They go 11-12 deep, and this was the best team in the NBA against the worst team in the NBA currently. But This team is just so prepared, they're so professional. They just handled their business every single night, and it's a crazy gift and a luxury to have such a young team. Most teams do not have this approach to the game like they do. So I think it starts with Presti and then Coach Dagnall. And it falls just down the line. But this team is real. They have no holes. They have depth. They have shooting. They have defense. They have scoring. They obviously have one of the better, players in the NBA, if not the best. They have the best trio, duo, however you want to look at it, and they play hard. So there's no load management for this team because even if there is, they just plug in another guy that can give you 13 and 8, and they have 8, 9, 10 guys that can give you double digits and just continue to work and to play hard. So it's fun to watch. And again, I do think not even just small market teams, big market teams can learn from how they built this team and how they grow this team and how the continuity and the structure is the same. There's not much rollover. They kept the same team from last year. Why wouldn't you? You just won it all. Like, I hate when teams do that and then let someone walk or it's ridiculous. The Oklahoma City Thunder don't do it. And that's why they're 7-0.
That's fair. That is fair. It's not just that they're young and it's not just that they're a small market team, Lou. I don't think enough can be said about SGA. I mean, he's 27 years old. He feels like he's been in this league for 20 years. He's just so stoic that doesn't show a lot of emotion. You cannot help but watch this team and think, oh, he is the reason. Like, he is the origin for this sort of aura that this team has. Where's that coming from?
He's always been mature. I got to give him credit for that. When we were teammates in 2019, 2020, he was always mature. He was always focused. He was always very intentional about how he approached work, how he approached practice, games, meetings, everything, even being a rook. Like, The kid, he rarely made mistakes. And even if he did, he would say, my bad, and he would fix whatever it was that was the issue that day. He's always been this type of player, always been this type of personality. So when you give him an opportunity to lead an organization, to lead a team of young guys just like him, and allow him to put his personality on it, this is the result that you get. This is what you see in this organization and with him. So, we're running out of compliments with these guys and the things that they've been able to do. But you can see it, man, his impact on and off the floor, how much they gravitate to him, how much they respect him, how much they love him, and how much they love and respect each other. It shows on the basketball court. And I think that's the reason why you see how successful this team is and how successful they can be down the line. We don't see them slowing up no time soon.
Boogie, are you sitting? Because we're about to get into big statement mode here, okay? So last night was his 79th consecutive game, talking about SGA here, of 20 or more points, which now ties him with Oscar Robertson at third on that list. When it's all said and done, will we be able to look back at SGA as the best scorer of his generation?
I would have to say yes, or we would have a strong consideration for sure. Obviously he's in a league of his own right now. This kid is elite. Like Lou said, we're running out of compliments for this kid. As far as his company, I can't think of a guy maybe outside of Jokic that could possibly be mentioned in this class. And they might not even be in the same time frame, but he's definitely in a category of his own. Maybe a Tatum can be put up there in some way, shape, or form. But I think SBA is definitely in the league of his own.
Just like 79. Like he hasn't had one just like stinker, one off game. And by the way,
not yet.
He's healthy too. So obviously a lot of that is luck and being fortunate to not have injury, but he's doing all the right things off the court with his body and managing everything. So he is outrageously good at scoring the basketball, and he's definitely one of the best scorers of his generation. And the style now tailors to him, the rules and getting to the free throw line obviously tailors to him. He has mastered all those things. And now you look 53% from the field with his type of game too, with a lot of mid-range, is so impressive. Usually you see that number way lower than that for a guy that settles and takes a lot of mid-range jump shots. And I think he continued to expand and become a better outside three-point shooter, but he's so good, man. He's so crafty, and he stops on the dime, and he can beat you off the dribble. He can post up little guys. There's zero holes in this dude's game. So, yeah, I think he's going to be, if not the best scorer of his generation. And it also helps that they're going to win the game too.
Fair.
Yeah, and I wonder, where does his generation stop and start anyway?
Yeah, like are we counting KD?
He's 27.
I don't know where his generation stops and start, but you could make a case for Luka, you could make a case for Giannis, but I'm not even sure if they're the same generation. But listen, as far as a 3-tier scorer, somebody that can put their back to the basket, somebody that plays in the mid-range and still shoot the three, he's right there on the list, along with a Luka, along with a Jason Tatum, and some of these guys. Giannis is probably one of the more powerful scorers that we have, but his range doesn't stretch out to that 3-point line consistently. So you got to put SGA up there with the best of them as far as this generation is. But I do pose that question. I don't know where his generation stops and starts.
Lou, let me ask you this too.
Question.
We talk about their bench and how deep they are, and how good SGA is. Take him off the Thunder this year. They're still a playoff team. Are they a top 4 team? Like, how good are they without SGA?
Yeah, they still roll. I think, and we've seen it. They've had every guy that you can imagine that we consider important on their team be out for an extended period of time, and they kept rolling like nothing else was going on.
Yeah.
Can I pose a funny question that I heard somebody talking about last week? If you took the Thunder and you split them up sort of playground rules, like, okay, J. Will, you're captain, SGA, you're captain, pick your squads, that both of those teams would make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. Yes or no?
In the East, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure.
It made me think. I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting thought, actually. You don't say no right away, and I think that's the point that I'm trying to make. We have to touch on the Pelicans really, really quickly. Boogie, we talked a little bit last week. Willie Green, possibly, is he going to get fired? This is a tough spot to be in. They have not won a game yet, and it's worse than that. They've lost 3 of the games by at least 30 points. Is this currently the worst franchise? I know. It's a tough 0-6 start. Worst franchise in the league, yay or nay, Boogie?
The worst in the league? It's between them and the Sacramento Kings.
I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, I don't know who's really fighting. But I mean, it's unfortunate for Willie. I think Willie is a really good coach. I don't think this was the most ideal situation. You know, obviously they've dealt with season after season dealing with Zion Williamson with his injury. They dealt with a lot of other injuries. Every year I felt like it was kind of a new tweak to the roster, so that's always an adjustment. It just hasn't been the ideal situation for anybody involved. You know, I do feel bad for Willie. I think he is a good coach. Obviously, I think he'll get back on his feet soon. Does it seem like a firing is on the horizon? Absolutely. It's just how the business goes. They have to blame somebody, and I think he's that name right now. So it's unfortunate, but it does look like it's headed towards that direction.
He probably wants
a tough spot
after this start.
Nobody wants to get fired. I mean, look, maybe subconsciously you're like, yeah, I'd rather be somewhere else, but wanting to be fired is not. It's not good.
I will say, I do think he's good enough and young enough to get another gig somewhere down the line too. Like he's a good coach.
Okay, I like that. It's positive. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, Luka's officially back. We'll talk about that and the Lakers.
Run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, yeah.
Well, oh, look now. Lakers on a little 3-game winning streak, beating the Heat over the weekend, 130-120. Luka with 29, 11, and 10. Reeves had 26. LaRavia, I guess we all know who he is now. 25 points, 8 rebounds off the bench. Jaquez with his 31 and 8 coming off that bench. A little win streak there keeps going. Triple doubles for Luka. 6 Lakers are in double figures. I know it's early, you guys, but we're out here in LA. It feels like things are happening. Is this a team that legitimately we can look at come playoff time as contenders?
I mean, listen, the fact that they've had no LeBron James and they missed Luka for the time that they missed, and they're 5-2 and they are right there in the thick of things is a huge, huge sign of progress. They found something with this Jake LaRavia kid. I watched the game last night. It's not just a fluke. This kid is 6'8", 6'9". He knows how to play without the ball. He moves. He cuts really well. He's a perfect fit for a ball dominant guy like Luka, like Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves seems to have taken that jump in his game too, where he's playing at an all-star level. And help is on the way, no matter his age, no matter what he hasn't done so far this year. LeBron James will be back in uniform with this team soon, and he's going to help win games as well. So it's a great start. I think they got to continue to get production from Rui. Guys like Marcus Smart have to be good. Jackson Hayes last night was unbelievable, just finishing, catching lobs, altering shots at the rim on the other rim. DeAndre Ayton was out, obviously, but he's the guy they added. They have high hopes for. But this team is solid. And look, I think, again, it's been a surprise with how well Reeves has played. And this Jake LaRavia kid, he's real. He's a really good player, and he's going to help this team a lot. So I like what this team has done so far. Luka, obviously, back in the lineup last night was huge for them. He struggled from the 3. He went 1 for 11 from 3 last night, which isn't going to happen often. Still finds a way to get a triple-double with 29, 11, 10. So this team is on the up and up. They're getting healthy, and the fact that they're 5-2 without being healthy is a great start.
Yeah, my only concern would be the inside. They got to get something consistent with Aiden and Jackson Hayes. But I do like the way that they played Hayes last night. Turn you into a rim runner, turn you into a lob threat. Let him be an athlete. Like, don't turn him into a guy that he's not. Putting his back to the basket, he's probably not going to give you anything. So, kudos to J.J. Redick for finding ways to make his guys successful. And like we just talked about LaRavia, we know who he is now. And ever since we heard Ant-Man make that statement, he's made sure that he's made the proper introduction to us as fans and people who aren't familiar with his game. So they're finding a lot of good production from a lot of different guys. But you know how this leagues work. It's a talent league. If they don't have a lot of talent in and out of this lineup, they're going to struggle. And so far, that hasn't been their thing. So when LeBron James gets back, That'll be interesting to see how he molds with this team. What'll be the identity once he comes back? But this team right now that's playing in the open court, that's playing fast, that's trying to score, under 8 seconds and take advantage of as many opportunities as they can and transition into full court. I like how they're playing so far.
Yeah, let's take a look at that, by the way, because LeBron allegedly due back next couple of weeks or so. So if we look at their schedule moving forward, they're 5-2 now. I don't know. Are we looking at a 13-4 possibly? Like, go through the schedule, Chandler. What are you thinking? I mean, there's some pretty winnable games on that.
Favorable.
I mean, yeah, when I look at the schedule, it's definitely favorable to the Lakers. They should win a lot of these games, and they're in a good spot. And again, they still haven't shot the ball last night. Think about Luka last night, 1 for 11. Austin Reeves, 4 for 14 from the three-point line last night. That's not going to continue. They're not going to struggle that much. This team can defend. I like when they play fast. I like when they get out. I like when Jackson Hayes rim runs because it kind of opens up the floor for everything else. Bronny James gave you good minutes last night too. Like he was solid and he was a valuable, piece to throw in there. He played 18 minutes. The way he defends, gets out in transition too. So there are a lot of good positive things to take from this team. And again, you're adding LeBron James. You're not just adding anybody. This guy is going to find a way to fit per se, but they're also going to find ways to get him going and get him downhill and get him doing things that we've been seeing the last 20 seasons. So I think they're in a really good spot, man. And the schedule definitely favors them to win a lot of games. Especially look at the next 5 at Portland. Portland's no slouch, but Portland, Atlanta, Charlotte. I mean, San Antonio finally got their first loss last night, but anything's possible, honestly. And the schedule is what it is, but they're gonna win a lot of those games.
Okay, don't poo-poo Portland. They're leading the NBA Cup Group C right now.
They can easily get out of this 7-3 with their record. Give or take. Like if they win the games they're supposed to win, if they get a big upset out of 2 or 3 of these, they can go out of that 10-game stretch 7-3 and be in a great position by the time LeBron does get back.
This forever and ever, I don't care how long Luka plays in this league, it will always come back to Mavs fans because this is one of those love stories that unfortunately will never work out in Dallas's favor, it seems. And right now it's looking pretty bad because he had the 44 points on Friday against the Grizzlies, which officially now puts him on a list as 3rd highest scorer through the first 3 games in history. So people started thinking, ooh, is there a world, Lou, where if Luka really tried or really put that into it, he could average 40? I mean, is that possible?
No.
Okay.
Because he's trying. Be clear, he's trying. He shoots the ball 20, 25 times a night. He's trying. It's just not an easy feat. I don't think people realize how tall of an order averaging 40 points a game is on a nightly basis. That's just a lot of buckets. That's a lot, and it takes a lot of energy to do that. We're talking about over the course of 6 to 7 months, 82 basketball games. It's nearly impossible to do. You've seen some guys, get to 33, 34, and that is a ton to us as players. We consider that a bunch. So to get a guy over that 4, that 4 standpoint, hell no. It's just too difficult.
Too difficult.
It was such a bad trade. Like it really was.
Here we go. Might as well touch on it.
They traded this dude and going in the prime of his career, a guy that can single-handedly control a game, a season, a playoff series, everything he had done. It really is mind-boggling that I'm watching him, and Conrad hit the chat last night. I'm just watching this guy and I'm like, damn, they traded this dude and secrecy out of nowhere.
Middle of the night.
He's breaking like Jerry West records. It's ridiculous.
Give us the inside scoop, Chandler, because I'm hearing this had nothing to do with basketball, by the way. Give us the inside scoop.
Yeah, well, I'll take his basketball production over any other possible problem that it could have went into.
Well, no. What are we talking about here? Like what kind of off the court? Like there are all kinds of levels to this, right? Like
Chandler speaks Dallas fluent, so I don't want to step on that, but the internet is saying that it had 0 to do with basketball and 0 to do with its off-court habits as well.
Yeah, well, if I'm averaging 41, 11, and 8, I'm getting lit after the game too, Lou.
I mean, who cares if it's that? By the way, Will they? Is there anything that could happen? Like anything?
Nico,
that could
look the other way. The guy that just led you to the finals. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, you trade him over some bad habits. How about his good habits of putting up 41 and 11 and 8? Come on, dude. This just it still doesn't make sense. It'll never make sense to me. And I love Anthony Davis. I really do.
And that sucks too, because he's hurt. Like it's not good.
It's just it doesn't check. It doesn't check out.
Well, this documentary, though, 5 years from now is going to be amazing. All right, taking a quick break. More Run It Back on the other side.
Run it up, then run it back.
Woo! We had a little fireworks on Sunday morning because it was announced EMBIID fined $50,000 for a gesture against the Celtics on Friday night. Little DX love right there, guys. $50,000 seems high for that. No? Come on.
The best part about this is
he's a repeat offender, though.
It's 13-7 in the first quarter.
I don't know what he's doing.
Hey, Chandler,
I don't know what he's doing.
I think he got hit with the 50 Bs because he's a repeat offender. I think that's his favorite one to go to. But look, as long as listen, since I was 12 years old, D-Generation X have been getting kids suspended, put in detention, put in school suspension. So listen, Joel, you know what's going on, but that's his favorite thing to go to. He throw it down and do his thing. But it's hilarious to me.
He followed up with a post, by the way, on Twitter. Like this wasn't just a one and done situation. It needed to elaborate. So Joel Embiid afterwards, y'all better start finding the rest for doing the lewd blocking foul gesture. Since I'm not allowed to do. Honestly.
You know what?
He's not wrong.
It's a great point because they do get out there.
No, they all the way out here, Chandler. They at the hips. He's inside the hips.
It's close.
I used to love the Generation X, Pac, and Road Dogg. So I've
done it. I've done it before.
Yeah, it's so good. But Lou hit it on the head. The fact that he had this last year happen and 13-7 in the first quarter, and he's letting it already is just too good. It is so good.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. Wrap things up on the other side.
Run it up, then run it back.
But I'm happy for Kershaw to go out as a champion. And then I'm happy for myself because that's 18 championship rings.
18 championships as either a player or owner, Lou. There's no one better. Is he the best all time at just winning?
Hey, listen, that trophy room got to be incredible. I would love to be a fly on the wall and check out that trophy room and all of the things that Magic Johnson has been able to accomplish as a player, as an owner, as an advisor, as whatever he is, in whatever capacity. This man wins at all levels. Shout out to Magic Johnson for putting another one on the bookshelf.
We thought Robert Horry was cool last week. Can you imagine his whole setup behind him?
He got him all. He got baseball.
And the Dodgers
he got him all. WNBA, NBA. You got him all.
And he's just he's like a nice human. All right. We'll see
Go Gators tonight. Season opener.